ever felt that weird electric tension in a room but you ain't 100% sure if she was actually into you or just being friendly? That uncertainty is exactly what we're killing today. I'm gonna show you how to read the unspoken language of attraction so you never have to guess again. First, let's talk about the microleaning phenomenon, which is a total game changer in reading body language. When you're hanging out in a group or even just sitting across from each other at a coffee shop, pay extremely close attention to her torso and her feet. In psychology, we call this ventral positioning. If she's looking to you, her body will subconsciously gravitate toward your center, even if she's acting totally chill and focused on something else. Look for that slight, almost imperceptible lean when you're telling a story, or notice if her feet are pointed directly at you instead of toward the exit or another person. It sounds small, but her nervous system is essentially trying to minimize the physical distance between your two safe zones, signaling that you're her primary focus in the room without her ever having to say a single word. Next up is the digital breadcrumbing tactic, and this is where most guys get focused between being friendly and being interested. A woman who's looking into you won't necessarily be blowing up your phone with paragraphs of text, but she'll be sending you these tiny low stakes connection anchors. Think about those random memes, a song she thinks you'd like, or a quick text saying, "This reminded me of that thing you said." She ain't just sharing content, she's testing your responsiveness and maintaining a psychological tether to your daily life. She is creating open loops in your mind, small bits of information that require a response to ensure that even when you ain't together, you're still thinking about her. It's a sophisticated way of staying on your radar while protecting her ego from being too obvious. If these insights are starting to change how you see things, do me a favor and hit that like button. It actually helps the algorithm show this kind of high-level psychology to more people who need it. And if you want to master the art of reading people, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a breakdown. We also have to dive deep into the memory retention aspect, which is one of the most profound indicators of emotional investment. In a world where everyone is constantly distracted by their screens, a woman who's low-key interested in you will exhibit what I call high-fidelity listening. This means she ain't just hearing your words, she is filing them away in her long-term memory. If she remembers that a random brand of tea you mentioned 3 weeks ago, or follows up on a stressful meeting you said you had on Tuesday, she is signaling that you have become a high priority stimulus in her brain. She is building a mental map of your life, which is a subconscious precursor to building a shared life. If she's catching the details that everyone else misses, she is not just being nice, she is investing in you. Then there's the fascinating mirroring and synchronicity effect that happens almost entirely on autopilot. And when two people develop a deep psychological rapport or romantic tension, their bodies naturally begin to synchronize. This is a biological drive to create harmony. Watch her closely next time you're grabbing a drink or just walking together. Does she take a sip of her water right after you do? Does she adopt a similar posture or even a similar tone of voice when she's talking to you? There's ain't some conscious trick she's playing. It's her limbic system trying to align itself with yours to build trust and intimacy. If you feel like you're both moving in the same rhythm, even in small physical gestures, it's a massive sign that her subconscious is already deeply attuned to your presence. Let's get into the playful antagonism, or what many call the teasing defense in American social dynamics. Being direct about attraction can feel incredibly vulnerable and risky for a woman. To mitigate that risk, many women will use light-hearted teasing as a way to create push potential. If she's poking fun at your goofy laugh, your questionable music taste, or that one awkward thing you did last week, she's actually engaging in a form of emotional testing. She's creating a private, playful language that exists only between the two of you, which builds an immediate sense of exclusivity. There's a low-key friction as a way to build chemistry without the heavy weight of a serious conversation, allowing her to gauge your confidence and see if you can handle her energy with ease. Be honest, which one of these signs have you actually seen in real life, and did it end up being a total win or a complete misunderstanding? Let me know your stories in the comments. One of the most underrated signs is the social validation pivot, which happens mostly in group settings. Pay attention to where her energy goes when something funny or unexpected happens. There's a psychological concept that when a group of people laughs, individuals instinctively look at the person they feel most connected to or most interested in to see if they're laughing too. If you notice that her eyes immediately flick to you after a joke is told, or that her laughter always seems to gravitate toward your direction, she's seeking your validation. She ain't just looking for a laugh, she's looking for your reaction to see if your experiences and emotions are in sync. There's a subtle eye tracking is a huge giveaway that you're her emotional North Star in that social circle. We also need to address the vulnerability threshold, which is the moment a connection shifts from superficial to significant. If a woman starts sharing the unpolished versions of herself, her fears, her small failures, or her more complex ambitions, she is essentially handing you a psychological key. By stepping out of the everything as a fine persona and showing you her true raw self, she is testing your capacity for empathy and emotional safety. She is checking to see if you're someone who can hold a space for her real life, not just the curated version she shows the world. if she's letting you into her inner sanctum through these small vulnerable disclosures, she's moving far beyond low-key interest and is actively building an emotional foundation for something much deeper. Now let's talk about the physical proximity and boundary testing that happens in subtle ways. A woman who's looking into you will often engage in threshold touches, brief, almost accidental moments of contact that allow her to test the physical chemistry without being overt. This could be a quick brush off the shoulder as she walks past, her hand lingering just a second too long when she hands you a phone, or sitting just close enough that your sleeves touch. These are highly intentional micro gestures designed to gauge your reaction. She's watching to see if you pull away or if you lean into the touch. It's a way of navigating the physical boundaries of the relationship while giving herself enough plausible deniability to stay cool if the energy ain't reciprocated. I wanna know, have you ever ignored your gut feeling about one of these signs only to realize later you were totally right? Share your I knew at a moment in the comments. Another massive indicator is a future pacing, which is a subtle way of viewing you into her manual timeline. Listen closely to the way she talks about upcoming events or even just general possibilities. If she uses we language or mentions things like, oh, you would absolutely love this movie when it comes out, or we should totally check out that new spot next month, she is mainly placing you in her future. She ain't making a formal commitment, but she's testing the waters to see if you're willing to coexist in her upcoming reality. This is a way of building a bridge between the present moment and a potential future, allowing her to see if your lives can actually integrate without having to ask the intimidating question, will you be in my life later? Finally, you have to look at the consistency of presence and the energy shift that occurs when you enter her space. A girl who's just being friendly will have a consistent, predictable energy with everyone. But if she's looking into you, you'll notice a distinct shift in her frequency whenever you arrive. There might be a sudden surge of nervous energy, a sudden change in her vocal pitch, or even a brief moment of silence as she recalibrates her attention toward you. More importantly, she'll be a consistent presence in your life, not just a fair-weather friend. If her engagement feels intentional, rhythmic, and uniquely different from how she treats others, trust your intuition. Your subconscious is picking up on the chemical and emotional signals her body is emitting, and usually that gut feeling is actually right. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Has any of this happened to you? Also, if this helps you out, pass it on to a friend who needs to hear this. And thanks for watching, guys.